And welcome back to another video game review. This time I'm going to be covering the sequel to Uncharted Drake's Fortune, being Uncharted 2 Among Thieves. The game takes place a year after the first. Returning characters are, obviously Nathan Drake, Sully, and Elena. But we get a couple of new additions. We have a new love interest in Chloe, and we have two new villains in Flynn and Lazarevich, who is the main villain. Uh, make this brief. I think Uncharted 2 is way above the first game. Where Uncharted 1 was practically more, self-contained on an island, Uncharted 2, you get more of a grand scope as you're pretty much globe-trotting through different locations, and the landscapes look so plush and so rich. The attention to detail for every environment you go to is really, really well done. From the jungles of Borneo, they look really great. And when you go to Turkey, and there's that first segment where you go to Turkey, they looks fantastic too. And I want to mention the overall opening to this game is very exciting. Pretty much when the game opens up, Drake has been shot and he's pretty much hanging on, and a train is like hanging off a cliff, and he has to make his way up to the surface. Of course, as the game progresses, we find out that takes place much later on in the game, and we're just given like this small little sample as to hook us in as to, okay, how the hell did Nick get like this? And throughout the course of the game, we see the events that lead up to that, which I thought was pretty cool and a nice hot way to start the game. And the overall story, I think the overall story in Among Thieves is much better than it was in Drake's Fortune. It has a lot of plot twists, and some you see coming, some you don't see coming. It has, we got a couple of new additions to the weaponry. You can use a riot shield now, and you can use like these containers you can use to blast things. Since you're facing a Lazarevich, who's pretty much like an army type guy, his minions are a little more of a challenge to take down since they're more heavily padded. But that's neither here nor there. It does not take away from it. Just enhances the greatness of this game. Another thing that I want to mention. Another thing, in the previous game, you had the Spaniards who were turned into monsters. In this one, we have two of those monsters to deal with. The first, when we get to like the snow cave, you take on these Yeti things, and they are nearly impossible to kill. I mean, they are a pain in the ass. The guns do absolutely nothing to these things. You pretty much got to like wait it out until you get to a certain section where the game says, okay, now the story can continue. So that's a bit of a challenge right there. And another set of monsters you got to go to are these things called Guardians. And like the Yetis, they are nearly impossible to kill with conventional weapons. The two fastest weapons I recommend you use is a crossbow and the Gatling gun. If you have either one of those two things to face the Guardians with near the end of the game, you'll have a fighting chance against them, because any other gun ain't gonna work. You might also get lucky with an RPG, but because I know I did, so RPG can work too. But again, and no, it's not a problem with the game. It's just like damn, this is challenging. And those two parts there, to me, they are pretty challenging. But of course, it just enhances the playability of this game tenfold. Because I like a game that can give you a challenge, and that's a challenge that I'll take on. Of course, there are other things in this game I like too. Like there's this one part of the game where this helicopter just takes out the building, and you're pretty much sliding, and you gotta like time it just right to jump through a window, and if you miss your mark, it's over. Then there's the train sequence, which is a pain in the ass. You're pretty much on this train, and you gotta run and shoot people. And then at the same time, you got the same helicopter. You got another helicopter that's shooting at your ass. So you gotta run. And you gotta hide, and you gotta run again, and you gotta hide again. It's very time consuming and a pain in the ass to get a handle on. But once you you know, die 7,000 times like I did. You finally get you finally get a rhythm that works to you, and you can actually progress on to what you have to do next. So that train part is a pain in the ass. Fun, but a pain in the ass. And the final boss battle against Lazarevich, pretty much, he finds this thing called the Tree of Life, and I don't know. I think it gives him everlasting, makes him everlasting, and rejuvenates him in a way, but it also like enhances his strength a little bit. So it's like, and this is a pain in the ass too, because you basically got to run around in a circle shooting these spores, but in order to do damage to Lazarevich, he has to be either very close or right on top of those spores. So it requires a lot of patience, a lot of timing, and a lot of running and stopping and running again, because if you stop for a second, he's going to shoot your ass and you're going to die. So that final boss battle is a little pain in the ass. But again, does not take away from the game. As a grand whole, I like this game. I gave Uncharted 1 a 7.5. I'm giving Uncharted 2 a solid 9 out of 10. I love the game. It's great. It's so much fun to play. It's fun, very fun to play. And of course I just beat it on my second experience of it. So I enjoyed it more the second time around than the first time around. So that is that. Well, that's my little review on the Uncharted 2 game. Like, comment, and subscribe, and I'll see you again next time.